You know this is your fault
This is
because
my
I
fault.
wasn't satisfied with the kitchen. I was like, yo, we got to promote your album. It's coming up. We got to get a conversation going, long form. It was perfect. And then I don't know, it just turned into, well, let me get one mic, let me get two mics. At first, remember, because I said I wasn't going to do guests.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah,
then,
you was gonna be down
but
here
then
by yourself.
everybody was like, oh, let me get on. I'm still going to do videos. I'm still going to do
Yeah,
content by myself. But yeah, so welcome. Why don't you tell the people who you are?
yeah. Gil Thompson from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Lived in Philly for like 8 to 10 years of my life. Had a lot of experience down here, and came back and started high school in 10th grade, William Allen, and that's where like I really fell in love with hip hop, and it was like it's kind of like that classic story at the flagpole. My boy John Will, shout out to John Will, him and his boy Nick, and I actually mentioned that on the album. It's funny, and they were
Yeah.
freestyling, and I was just like, yo, I should write something. He's like, bro, go do that shit. So I like took me like 3 hours to write 8 bars.
Could
Like
you mention a telephone pole? You guys would meet at a telephone
yeah,
pole
yeah.
or
It was like it was right at the flagpole actually after school. Like they would always freestyle, and I would just watch. And I was like, "Yo, I want to write something." John Well was like, "Yo, do that shit." So I like took mad hours. I think it took me like 4 or 5 hours to write 8 bars because it was so hard. I never trained that part of my brain before,
right, right.
and I did it. And I came back and I spit a little, and they responded. I was like, "Yo," and Johnny was like, "Yo, keep doing that shit." And I was like, "Word." So then I just kept doing it. Then I went back, went into the history. I was like, who can I study to get nice? And then I just started studying everybody. And that's how
Yeah.
my whole journey started with it.
Name some people who would you study? I mean, I know, but tell some of our
I,
younger listeners.
well, the person that made me fall in love with hip hop, that grabbed my heart first was Pac because of the emotion in it. But once I got into I would say on the MCing side, the first rapper that I ever wanted to be like was Method Man because I
Yeah.
loved his voice and his cadence.
Shout
Like it
out to
was,
Meth.
yeah, oh my God, it was just so much. It was so captivating to me. And especially when him and Redman did the Blackout album, the Rockwaller, that's one of my favorite songs. You put that song on now, I'm gonna go nuts. It's microphone checker, swinging
Yeah.
so electric. Like the way he does it, he just sounds fire. And like then I went into like a cannabis phase for a while.
Oh,
Like
the
when,
real technical,
oh my
lyrical stuff.
God.
Yeah.
My style of rhyming is ancient like Aztecs and Mayas because I recognize it's all about time and me and my freestyle lines practicing African voodoo science. I was like, yo, this dude is crazy. Like, so he had me going nuts. And then I went into the Nas. The Nas has been my favorite ever since once I started really dissecting all his shit. And Common, I think if you could kind of blend my style in general, because I don't sound like anybody, I would say a combination of I'm more Common personality, but Nas's kind of writing style, if anything. And then I blend a whole bunch of other shit in there. But yeah, Nas has been my favorite because Illmatic is my favorite hip hop album of all time.
Illmatic. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can see it's hard for me to place my top of all time, but that makes sense. That's about the natural progression for some of our younger listeners. I don't know if they realize how influential rap was
Oh my
because
God.
it was a culture, it was a movement, and we had studied the 80s, the Cool G raps. We had studied the Rakims, the people that kind of invented the culture.
Mm.
And then as we're adapting it in the 2000s, what was when did 8 Mile come out? Was that 2001?
I think it was 2002. Yeah, 2002, because Slim Shady LP was 99. Marshall Mathers was 2000. I remember that because that was the year it was competing with Supreme Clientele by Ghostface. So then 2002 was Eminem show, and that was around the time he did 8 Mile. Around, so yeah, 2002. Man, it's 20 years, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
20,
yo.
a little over 20 years.
Yo, that's crazy.
It's insane. That's why I hear people clown Eminem and stuff, and they're like, "Dude, just the fact that he's still doing it." You know what I mean? It's like
That's
trying to break
crazy.
down God did verse
Oh yeah.
and be like, "Oh, dude, just at that level alone,
Yeah.
at that age."
I remember when Jay-Z did the Kingdom Come album, when he first came back after the Black album, when his fake retirement. I remember I seen an interview with Redman that year. He said this then. This is before Jay-Z became a billionaire. Redman was like, man, if I was making Jay-Z money, I wouldn't be rapping like that. Are you crazy? And this is Redman. Everybody loves Redman, especially from the 90s. He's a super stone cold legend. He said that then, and Jay-Z like kept rapping after that. So I was just like, If Redman could say that shit, and he got all the credibility in the world, it
Yeah.
shows you that Jay-Z just has something in him that he wants to continue to prove excellence. I mean, shout out to Hove on that one.
Yeah, shout out to Ho. Definitely. Well, you got your own excellence to prove. We're promoting Writing to Heal, dropping October 24th, right?
Yeah, October 24th.
What's the significance of that date?
It's my mother's birthday. R.I.P. to my mom. She passed away October 21st of 2019. So ever since then, I went through a whole bunch of like internal stuff that I needed to work out. And writing this album definitely helped me through it. It's very therapeutic because I lost a lot of people in my life, but when I lost my mom, that shit broke me. And I had to go to therapy. I took 12-week courses, did a lot of reading, learned about how to reprogram my mind and my own feelings. Because at the end of the day, nobody's gonna pull you out that hole but yourself. You can have people that love you, that support you, can be there for you, but until you make the internal decision that I want to get out of this and do certain routines every day to try to pull yourself out with positive energy, taking action to legitimately do things, you're going to stay in that hole. And I was like, you know what? I would wake up and I was like, I have a wife and 2 beautiful children that need me, so I can't keep falling down this hole. So I started climbing out, not to paraphrase one of my song titles now, but I had to literally climb out that shit. And it took me a while, but through the process, I was writing. And I was like, you know what? Let me get these emotions out because I need to. And this album helped me a lot with that. It lets me put stuff in perspective once it was down on wax. So yeah, can't wait for everybody to hear it. And the 24th awesome. Is her birthday. So shout out to mommy.
Oh man, she's loving this. She's loving this. No, that's great. I did get a chance to get a sneak. That's funny. So we put together the album cover, which you're seeing here. That's going to be released. This podcast will probably come out either a week before or right around the same time as the release date. It'd be great if I can get everything edited and put out right beforehand. So this is a promo piece for people to... So at the time of listening this, it'll either be out now or out in a couple of days. So we'll make that available. So why don't you go into, I think you touch on some good things. Hearing the album, this seems to be more of a story of growth and healing. There's a big difference in the first half of the album versus the second half of the album.
Oh yeah, definitely. This shit starts off like confused and angry. Just the intro is called Circles of Insanity. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like just the chaos that's going on in my mind and how like I'm trying to wrestle through the idea of instead of staying in that zone, I got to do something to get it out of my head, which kind of goes into track 2, Break Your Face, where it's literally just like anger and how I deal with people. Because, when you come from the hood and hood mentality and you get older, you try not to be so reactive. You try to take in the situation and think about it before you execute your emotions. But when you're young, you got that energy and you just react sometimes. So it's kind of me battling the fact of, all right, I'm older now, so I can't just be aggressive every 2 seconds. I got kids to raise. I got responsible shit I have to do. So it's just kind of like me wrestling with those emotions. Like, yo, just let me in my own space. You do you, I'll do me. But if you push me there, I could take it somewhere. And that's why at the end of that track, when I'm like, you know what, I need to vent it and write down, sink my teeth into a herd of MCs and bite down. The cipher track.
Herd of MCs and bite down. That was the last track, or that was the last line.
Literally the last line. So then I go into the next track where I'm just barring dudes up in Bevel Boy. So it's kind of like a process of like circles of insanity. Everything's going crazy. Yo, I need to get this out. And then I'm venting literally my anger in personal conversations with people. And then, you know what? Let me vent it through hip hop. And then I go into my cipher stuff and I'm sunning MCs. You know what I mean? So it's a process of me letting out this anger, becoming more self-aware, and just kind of being honest with myself and taking accountability.
Yeah, accountability, track 5, right?
Yeah, for my own personal, like, my place in all this. Like, I know the world might have done stuff to me, but how did I react to it? Was it in the most positive way? Was it in the most helpful way? Was it that I come from a place of love? Like a mantra that me and my wife use every day now is bathe in gratitude and lead with love. And we repeat that.
Gratitude, yeah.
Yeah, we do that every day. So I try to do that. Yo, this situation pissed me off. how can I lead with love through it? And if you approach everything in life like that, you're gonna go towards a more positive answer. And that's why I
Yeah.
try to do, even when I'm angry, I try to ask myself that, how can I lead with love in this conversation? And how can I bathe in gratitude of the things that I do have, even if I don't have everything I want? So it's just a constant process of like wash, rinse, repeat of getting better and yeah, putting my mind in a better state because I want to reach that mental level of gamma that monks are at.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that where they just be at peace all day. Like those are my heroes. Like I want to be where they at, doing like
Yeah.
crazy stuff all day where they're just like
In
in
their head,
zen.
they're eating ice cream.
Yeah, for real.
Doesn't matter what's going on. They don't even have to smile about it.
There's like anarchy everywhere, but there's just like perfect zen in their brains. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Well, no, I think that's great to be able to flip the perspective. Like you said, lead with love. That was part of the reason, that it was a hard decision not to make this a hip hop podcast. I was gonna have I will not lose. The Jay-Z cleared. It was gonna drop the beat, everything, everything. But then I thought, you know what? It's really just a matter of the I will not lose. The stories of success is learned from failures. So flipping it, not necessarily Musk landing the spaceship on Mars, but what comes before when he failed in PayPal? What led him to become the person that now he can land a spaceship on Mars? Does that make sense? And it's really just the opportunity to find the success in everything that you may look at as a failure.
Yeah, it's always a process. And the thing people have to be comfortable with and recognizing that it's okay to be a work in progress. Many people think, well, I've done all this stuff and I became aware I'm not naive to certain information anymore. So I should just know better and do better, which is true. But you got to take an accountability that you're still a human being. You're not going to be 100% all the time, even after you know positive information. Why? It's because we have a lot of habits that you did for years. Think about if you were like just a prick for like 20 years and then you met a really nice person that touched your soul and made you really want to be better. You're so used to being a prick that it's going to take you a while to get out of those habits. It just is. Like all that stuff, your daily habits and all, and I explain this to everybody, is, whenever you drive somewhere every day, and sometimes during your drive, your commute, whether it's to work or a friend's house, like you might lose time for like 5 to 10 minutes. But you'd be like, wow, I don't even remember driving here, but your body still did. That's all in your cerebellum. Like that's where all your habits are. So you're like, well, how can I retrain my cerebellum to become more actively aware and present in the moment? And that's what your cortex is. You got to do habits that get you in the zone so that when you are relaxed and when you are on autopilot, your autopilot is doing positive shit. Yeah, and that's going to change your whole physical reality, things of that nature. So that's why I would just do stuff when I wake up in the morning. I wake up, like I don't have to be to work till 6:45 a.m. now. I'm waking up at like 3:45 because I'm not a morning person. But I know that about myself, so I'm not going to wake up at 5:15.
Oh, man.
I wake up at 3:45. I get up. I do my 4-7-8 breathing. I say daily mantras to myself. You know what I mean? I read my positive affirmations. I get myself right. I get my coffee, my water. I sit there and I'm present before I even get on my phone. I don't get on my phone for like almost an hour or whatever.
Yeah, that's been a big one.
I need to be at peace because I deal with so many different energies at work. And then when you come home, I'm a husband and a father. My kids want to tell me about their day. My wife wants to vent to me or tell me about her day. And I need to be present for those things, especially the people you love. So I got to put myself in a mental space where I can handle all those energies. And you got to be honest with yourself. If you are more of an introvert person, you got to know that, all right, but so much energy I could take within the course of a day. So I need to set myself up for success. I can't I know I'm an introvert, but I'm putting myself around people every 2 seconds. You gotta like work yourself towards that. And I think the biggest thing people need to do is be honest with themselves and know how to kind of work into that. You know what I mean?
Oh, that makes sense, man. Yeah. Dropping some wisdom. You remind me, I just finished a book this year called The Upward Spiral. Are you familiar with it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
I wish I knew the author. It was one of those ones that I flew through, but it talks about the different patterns that you can get that lead you further and further towards depression. And the upward spiral is just little things like taking a walk. Not only did you get a little bit of exercise, but if it's a sunny day, you got some sun, you got some vitamin D. It's just different things to wire. And you use the analogy about driving. One of the things they mentioned is, you ever notice how like you realize every light that you don't make, you don't realize that you just passed 4 green lights. You just realize that one red light.
Yeah.
Your brain actually gets into a pattern of recognizing the negative things. And the further you get towards depression, you start to remember bad things. So I'm to the point now, if I find myself aware of just thinking about, like, I'll think about an argument from 13 years ago. It wasn't even a serious argument. It's just all of a sudden, I'll be like, wait a second. So maybe my brain's trying to tell me something. Maybe I need to do this.
My man was like, the level of petty is still there. That's crazy.
I wish one could come to my mind, but I just throw it out. It doesn't do any benefit there, but it lets me realize and recognize this has helped too. You got a smartwatch?
Yeah. Well, not. Yeah, I got me a Fitbit because I track my steps or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Steps is a big one.
Oh my God. Yeah. I probably get like 15,000 a day.
15,000?
Yeah.
You work on your feet?
Yeah, I'm on my feet all day. I'll get just 12 at work and I'll come home, like if I work out, or if it's a workout day, then I'll probably end closer to 20 maybe.
Bro, I don't even think I get 15,000. I've got 16,000 once, but I was dealing with a lot of anxiety. I use this to track if my pace is too fast. I'll know from my data before I'll know from my actual
the way you'll feel
being.
it. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I won't know, like, am I over caffeinated? Am I anxious? I won't know that right away. I'll have to look. Oh, you hit your daily step limit by like 11 a.m. Maybe you should calm down.
11 a.m.
No, yeah,
That's crazy. Yo,
I remember the one day
30,000 steps, 12 p.m. Like, damn.
No, even when I run, my steps don't go that crazy. Like when I was running 3 miles a day, I think I was only averaging like 9 or 10,000 steps a day.
Really?
I would get most of it. Well, I mean, I'm at an office most of the other
Oh,
time.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
My watch tells me to get up and go walk. It'll tell me to do upward stretches or something. Watch, it's going to go off during the podcast. I'll be like, wait, uh-oh. But no, man. So that's crazy. So hip hop is a crazy force, and it's amazing how it comes full circle to allow you to, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of rappers talk about the self-expression that hip hop allows you to have. They're like, look, it didn't teach me. And don't get me wrong, man, there was some people who were like, yo, they heard that Pac verse and they got a different message. They were like, I gotta pick up a 38 and we gotta roll and ride on these enemies right now. Like,
yeah, for real.
It didn't influence. I'm not gonna get out here and say hip hop did everything, but focusing on the good parts of it. I mean, it's I wish I could quote the line. You know, Classified, Canadian rapper.
Oh yeah. He produces too.
Something like that. He puts out a ton of work. But he had said something about that. It never made me want to pick up a gun. It made me not ashamed of who I was or something like that. Like,
yeah, he's nice. I haven't heard some of his stuff in a while, but yeah, I remember bumping some of his shit at least like 5-7 years ago. I had an album. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was fire. I can't remember the name, but he's dope. Yeah,
I
he's
bought
definitely
a couple of his.
Yeah, he's dope. That shit's crazy. Yeah, hip hop is just, it's an incredible thing because like I used to be one of those more jaded guys that, you know, you grew up in a certain sound and you like it to be that way. But then once you start living and getting out into the world and you see how different bops and vibes influence people and the energy surrounded, it makes you appreciate it more. If you in your house all day and you like, if you like, I don't like club songs, but you don't never go out, then you can't appreciate it. If you go to a club and you see certain energy and you see people enjoying themselves, having a really good time, and there's great energy and they mouthing all the words, I'm like, yo, like this is different. Yo, it is. And it makes you appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Same thing. Like I remember like when the Meek intro came out, I was just like, yo, this is dope. But once I was in a setting and you see like 50 people mouthing it word for word, you be like, this is something different. To the point when the Eagles won a championship, they ran out to that shit. I was like, oh, this shit is different. You know what I mean? So that sometimes you got to be out in the world to experience shit. Somebody could tell you all you want, but if you don't feel it, then it's like that. That's why I suggest before you criticize certain styles of music, go exist in that energy of where it's at its peak at, and then come talk to me, because I'm like, wow. It feels a lot different. It makes you appreciate different styles of music a lot better. Once I did that, I stopped being as jaded.
Yeah.
And then I was
get out of Philly for a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, yo, let me chill, y'all. I'm bugging right now.
What about out west? You ever been out west?
No. Fortunately,
I love that music, man. Kendrick Lamar, J Rock, they've been rocking the last couple years.
Oh yeah,
And
I love
anything
Kendrick.
that sounds like that, just with that West Coast bop. They West Coast did a great job of instrumentally sounding the same. Even Nipsey. Even Nipsey got that West Coast vibe, and you hear it and you're just like, that's a West Coast beat, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Kendrick, he's probably my favorite of this new generation. Like of the leaders, you know, it's always between like Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick. Like they're all doing their thing. But Kendrick Lamar, and I think it's with me personally, why I probably love him the most, is because I'm a person that if you do something that I think is like extremely hard to do, that other people can't do, I admire it so much. I'm like, wow, like how did you do that? Where most people don't give a shit about that. And that's fine. But me personally, like when he did like To Pimp a Butterfly, or the way he put together Good Kid, Mad City, like those are very
Just listened to that
complex,
yesterday.
highly detailed albums. If you listen to that shit in headphones and you all the sounds and shit going through, I'm like, yo, this shit took a long time to put together. Like this is masterful.
Dude, that switch up in Good Kid, Mad City.
Shit is crazy, bro. And when I got that, I was like, yo, this generation ain't doing shit like that. They get a beat and they rap over it. And if they killed it, they killed it. Oh, this beat's dope. These bars are dope. Kendrick could have the track 1 flowing into track 15 and track 2 connected to this shit. I was like, this dude is different, bro. So that's the only reason why I appreciate him, because I know in order to do what he's doing, you really got to put a lot of thought into it. It's not just I walked into the studio and spit a hot verse. And that's why I appreciate him more, like out of this generation of rappers. But
he got so many features. I just heard him on Classic Man, that Jay Denna joint.
Oh yeah,
I heard him on that. I heard him on like he was back on like with A$AP Rocky and Drake.
Yeah,
on Fucking Problems.
You
know what I mean? Like he's just been, he was on then I walked into Wawa, get a sandwich, and I hear Taylor Swift Bad Blood, and I was like, that's right, he was on a remix of that.
That's funny. Yeah, I was just talking to my daughter about this. She was like, wait, Kendrick was on the track with Taylor Swift. I was like, yeah, it was a while ago though. That's funny that you brought. I was literally just talking about that yesterday with my daughter. That's funny.
For as little as he drops, he stays relevant in every conversation.
Yeah, even the album he dropped this year on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, like that was very like deep and detailed, and the story he told about his own healing and therapy and stuff like that. Like I really enjoyed that story.
I haven't given a deep dive yet.
I was like, wow. And the track Mother I Sober, bro, it's like towards the end. It's like right before the last track. That is one of the deepest songs I heard in the last 5 years. To talk about the stuff that directly relates to the Black community and stuff with molestation and stuff, to dive into that, how it went into his family, and people don't talk about that. People having sex with their family members. I was like, that's crazy. Niggas don't talk about that shit, yo.
That's wild.
They like, and the fact that he went there and talked about, like, I was like, wow, bro. It sounded so vulnerable. That song touched me, yo. I was like, wow, like he's different. So you could do a turn up song all you want. You could do a 50 million, but that song is better than like 50 turn up songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because that shit's gonna be around forever. People don't get that vulnerable on music.
Well, he leaves in the room on it for an album.
Yeah,
he's like, able to carry that buzz that they want him to drop something else. He'll get the features. If he had, you got to think about it. Back in the day, you dropped 12 tracks. If you didn't have 3 bangers to run it to your next album, you had to. They had it all planned out. Yeah. You were in the club, and then you had. Dude, albums followed the same format. That's one thing that I love about newer hip hop. It's not that same, okay, we got 3 skits. It's going to be verse, chorus, verse. Nope. We're going to have the Ja Rule track on number 3.
Ja Rule track?
Yeah. No, for real. You always had to have like, and then to the point, if you listen to Ja's last albums, it was just hit after hit after hit.
Oh my God.
It was like we could throw his album on at the party and play it front to back.
Yo, I can't remember the last time I listened to Ja Rule album. That shit is crazy. He did do good at the verses though. What was it against Fat Joe? I think it was.
Ja Rule and was it Fat Joe?
I think it was. I think it was Fat Joe. They did the verses. I think it was like last year or so.
Excuse me a second.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it, but everybody was saying Ja Rule did really good, and it made him realize how many hits he had back in the day. He was like, you know what? Ja was my dude. Yo, I heard a lot of people saying that.
See, what it is it was our dude in middle school. We were a little bit, I'm 35. You're what?
39. 39, yeah.
Yeah, so you were in what? High school when Ja was out.
Yeah.
Like when
I was graduated.
I'm not talking about like Ashanti and Ja Rule. I'm talking about when he was putting out like yelling murder all the time.
Oh, like Holla. Yeah, that was that Veni Vidi Vetsy album. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was like 99, I think.
I want to say I was in 8th grade when that came out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember that. That's when he was getting a lot of DMX comparisons, so he had to switch it up.
I was just gonna say that DMX. That reminds me, he was praying on the album and stuff.
Yeah.
Just that whole.
And then he switched it up and came back with every little thing that we do, and everyone's like, "Yo!" And then he had his own shit, and then he did his hits or whatever. That's funny, Ja Rule.
Dude, I was at his concert this year.
That was
a great time.
Oh, it was good.
Great time.
I was scared about that. I was like, damn, is he gonna go out there and embarrass us? Because you never know.
No,
like,
Ashanti carried it, but
right.
no, he had energy the whole time. The whole time.
Oh, he did. Oh, that's what's up.
Yep.
Ja did his thing.
Yep. Then was like, all right, we gonna do it how we really gonna do it. Take his shirt off and stuff like that. Show his wing tattoos and stuff. I was like, all right, that's right. I gotta remember. It's like if I go to a Drake concert.
Oh yeah.
He's not there for the dudes.
Yeah, facts.
It's Ja didn't make music for dudes for the last 22 years.
Yeah, he's just been making hits for the women, the ladies. It's all good though. He made his money.
I ain't mad at you.
He made his money. That's crazy.
It's wild to get somebody, but that's why you got to go with the fact that he's still doing music. This generation knows him for Fire Festival. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, that shit that went left. Yeah, I heard about that. That's crazy.
Well,
I didn't dive into it. I didn't dive into it, but I was just like, because I don't really be following like stuff Ja Rule be doing like that anymore. But if anything, the people that I probably listen to the most that would be of it probably like Griselda with like
Conway,
Benny, and West Side Gun. Like I love them, or like even Trust with like 38 Special, Ransom and Shay Noir. Like I listen to a lot of the underground
38
stuff.
Special. I don't know. You're gonna have to send me some links.
Yeah, he's dope. They're all dope. It's just like bars, shit that we came up on, more grimy instrumentals, things of that nature. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's who I'll be listening to. Matter of fact, on my way here, I was listening to Tana Talk 4. Shout out to Benny the Butcher.
Oh man,
I was listening to Tana Talk 4. I was like, yo,
he's on that Conway feature on the new Danger Mouse. What's the one with I think it's called Saltwater.
Oh yeah, towards the end of the album, I know what you're talking about. The cheat codes album, yeah. Yo, Black Thought spazzed on that album. Something wrong with him, man. I don't think he's human. He has to be alien or something. Like, how do you just keep getting better? Like,
dude, if you just came out and was like, he was like Asperger's or somewhere on the spectrum where just like language, like that was his gift.
Yeah, I don't know. He just different. It don't matter what era he in. He just kill shit. Like I still, every once in a while, I just go back and watch that 10-minute flex freestyle. And I'm just like, yo, I think he did it it was like 2-3 years ago now when he did that. And he just spit for 10 minutes straight. Like,
I don't know if I could reference that.
No breaks is on flex. Look up the Black Thought flex freestyle. I think it was in the last 3 years.
Word.
No, that shit is crazy. 10 minutes straight. Just boom, boom. I was like, bro.
He did that on the Tipping Point album. That was when I really got into Black Thought. Web, and then Boom. I think it went from Web was like number 6 and Boom was number 7.
Black Thought is different. That's why, and that's the only, I'm going to be honest, that's the only thing about me that's still a little bit jaded about my time. When people talk to me about new rappers, I'll be like, yo, go listen to this Black Thought freestyle that he just did 2 years ago. This dude been out since the 90s. Tell me if anybody you like is messing with him. And I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be no. You know, so I'm like, and that's why I was like, that's the only time I'm jaded. Like, when it comes to just a skill level. If you're saying, well, I like this person's music better because I like turn up stuff or I like a different vibe, I'm cool with that. Because, you know what I mean? You can like any vibe you want. But when you talk about lyricism, that's specific. You're talking about bars, cadence, flow, punchlines. You know, you're talking about something very specific. Then you start getting to like Black Thought, maybe a Lupe Fiasco territory where these dudes are just advanced. Their mind, or if you want to go into more freestyle, look up King Los. Look up any freestyle King Los does. He's probably the best freestylist I've ever heard. Like this dude is incredible. I seriously believe that if you scanned his brain, there's probably a chip in there. You know what I mean? There's somewhere. There has to be a chip because I don't understand how he can freestyle like that fluidly and that complex on the spot. I'm like, yo,
that's what I'm wondering. I gotta wonder how much of is it. Now, what I did do, I didn't write for 2 years back in my journey when I rapped. When I got to college, I stopped writing and I only exercised the freestyle. And it is a muscle. It's something different. You got the studio, you got performance, and you got freestyling. And you can only choose 2 of those. I'm serious. Even Drake, come on. You never heard Drake coming off the top with stuff. He puts out like produced tracks and allegedly as a ghostwriter. I don't know. I mess with Drake, but it's not cared about as much as it used to be. I mean, even if you talk to some local rappers in this area, they're on some, you're kind of allowed to steal. You don't have to sound like yourself. And that's what's so funny. I go and I play stuff. I play tracks that I recorded 10 years ago. Nobody was trying to hear the way I was rapping 10 years ago, but there's a market for it now. It's so funny. My son, I stopped rapping for my son so I could be there for him. And he's like, man, you should never stop rapping, man. It's like, well,
damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Yeah.
No, it's crazy though, just with the whole just the bar concept of like MCs and stuff. I just see it through a different lens. Like you could like any type of music you want. Only time I personally challenge people is I want them to be specific in what you like. You know what I mean? Like be specific and articulate in what you actually mean. Because somebody could say something like, say if you sell drugs heavy on the street and somebody like, yeah, I sold a pack, da-da-da-da-da. I got the ratchet, I got bitches with me, da-da-da-da-da. And they could say it in the most simple format, but they said something that you do every day, right? People are like, yo, this dude is nasty. And they'll be like, he's nastier than Black Thought. I'm like, no, you're using the wrong terminology. You relate to that more. Say the word relate. Don't say he's nice. Because if somebody goes da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da door, da-da-da-da-da-da, fell on the floor, right? And you're like, okay, that's a simple rhyme scheme. By definition, you look it up. It's a simple rhyme scheme. And then if you hear somebody going, I go drastic, flow have it, mastered the rap shit with graphical taxes, and you start hearing words connect, that is by definition a more complex rhyme scheme. So you can't say that takes more skill than that. You just can't. So you got to say, I relate to this style more, and that's why I love it. I'm cool with that. But don't say it's nicer than Black Thought. Just say you can't relate to that stuff.
It's almost like you got to separate it. You got the cannabis flow. Like I went through and organized my Spotify playlist the other weekend, and I got hip hop, rap, lyrical, Jedi Mind Tricks, all that boom bap is just its own stuff. Shout out to King Magnetic. I was listening to him this morning as well too. But when I'm in a vibe, like when I do that, especially when I'm cleaning and stuff, like if I'm going, I'm setting stuff up and I have to play music for the house, I can't always, they don't want to hear Griselda all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
When I'm in the shower and stuff, I'm going to play something that might be a little melodic because I know people can hear it. And that's when I have my headphones on and I'm going nuts and stuff, sometimes I just want to hear, I've been on a Vinny Paz kick lately.
Oh, wow, Vinny Paz.
I know. They're going to hate me. Somebody in the comments is going to be like, how you shout out King Magnetic and Vinny Paz? Watch. But it's all good.
Vinny's definitely a legend for sure. That's a Philly bull too.
But they got a lot of younger dudes too. Like I like Esoteric. Apathy was on a track with some dude, man. There was I forget. There was 2 white rappers I was listening to lately. One of them is one in Tech Nine Strange Music. Jerry Robinson. Shout out to Jerry Robinson.
I'm not sure if I heard it. I think that when I think, what's his name? Is it Ritz or something like that. I remember hearing he was pretty Strange nice.
Music, yeah. He raps like fast. He raps a little more like Tech.
He was pretty dope. I haven't heard of. I do like Tech Nine. Tech Nine's a legend. I just can't always vibe with his in particular because some of his shit be just out there too much for me. Just my personal taste. But I think skill wise, he's up. I mean, you can't listen to him and not be like, this dude's not incredible.
No, he drops the incredible stuff and he drops Carabaloo. Like, I think, let's talk about Tech for a second. The interesting part about his career is he started with a failed album that they tried to market to black people when he had orange hair. And he was like, He's
Oh,
like, they're not relating with this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a jumpsuit with orange spiky hair and
Yeah, he was
twisties and
wildin'.
stuff. So he bought his album back. I think that was Angelic, and or
Yeah.
re-released it. I don't know what the exact.
That's one on the cover where he's look crazy and the dreads are going everywhere.
I think he's got the orange hair in it.
Yeah, and he's like, his hair's going crazy. I think, yeah, that was the one that got him out there.
But he dropped that independently and sold like 1 million copies.
Yeah, his hustle is crazy.
Owns all his masters.
He's got like 30 albums, I think. Something crazy like that. Probably more.
Well, plus more than that, more artists than that.
Yeah,
Cess Crew got multiple albums out. Ritz got multiple albums out. Jerry Robinson, I don't know how many he's got. I don't know if he's newer, if I'm just late, but I think Daylight. Well, no, Daylight's the song he got with Tech on it. But I don't remember what the name of the actual album is. We don't got a Jamie here, ladies and gentlemen. We don't got somebody getting paid to just Google stuff and pull it up. Everything that you see up here is done in post. So it's like, I'd love to get there, but right now I'm worried about the recording dropping out if I start surfing the internet.
Yo, for real, that should be done. Nah, yeah, Tech, he's probably, I don't know this factual, but he has to be like a top 3 most successful independent like MC that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think Joyner Lucas just passed him out. Joyner independent wise, insane.
I don't know if it's more than Tech, because Tech been doing it for a longer time.
But it depends on what rating you're going for. Yeah, he's been doing it for a longer time. But,
I mean, in terms of the money, because like I think the Tech had a whole, Tech had a whole like, I seen this, because you know, for a while, he might still be doing it. Tech was dropping like documentaries with each album he was doing. I know he had one with all 6s and 7s and something else. And then
I don't know about the documentary.
Special effects. He was dropping like documentaries when we were showing how like he created the albums. He did that for like 3 or 4 albums in a row. I don't know if he's still doing it, but yeah, I would go in there and they would show he has a whole fucking building that's a warehouse where they make all Strange Music product. Like,
his merch is insane.
Yeah, he was walking through the whole warehouse. I don't think Jordan Lucas got that. You know what I mean?
No. I just think the metrics. I think the metrics are different. Or honestly, it might have just been a verse where he said, "I'm the #1 independent artist in the world." Like I'm not citing my sources here. Yeah, I'm going. But I mean, in terms of, I don't know if it goes by how much you tour or what goes with what. Because Strange. Tech tours and sells out and stuff like that, but it's not like Madison's. Did he sell out the Garden? I don't think he does things on. I'm
not sure.
Well, let's kind of gear away from that thing because I don't want to be dropping facts that I don't know. But the interesting thing was he put that the acronym was BITCH, bitch, breaking into colored houses.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And
he's like, I'll be the first rapper to break into black folk.
I think that's the one with T-Pain on it.
It has T-Pain on it, and he did T-Pain on all 6s and 7s. He had features with Lil Wayne. He had a couple people, like big names, that he bankrolled for them to be on. I was like, oh, he's trying to break into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's doing his thing.
It's hard because it's like trying to tell somebody to watch Marvel now. That didn't know nothing about the comics, didn't know nothing. They're just seeing like Ms. Marvel or like whatever the new stuff they got coming out. You can't do it. It's like watching Endgame. That's why I tell people what God did. It's like watching Endgame without watching any of the Avengers. If you don't know Jay-Z's whole career, like there's even.
Oh damn, my bad.
It's all good.
I got alarms going off and shit.
It's all good. How are you on time? You gotta get out of here? Or?
No, I'm good. Cool. I just have like, cause you know when you be getting old and stuff, you just be forgetting everything.
Yeah, there you go.
So I have stuff to remind me by this time. You know what I mean? Do this. I've been wilding.
That reminds me, I did forget to put airplane mode on, so hopefully nobody gives a call or whatever, but we'll still have the audio version. I'm excited about this, man. I'm glad you could come over. This is for you. This was something, I mean, it's grown into something that could be for other people, but I wanted to see you to be able to have an outlet. And I just think this album is so important. You know, I've been doing your albums for a while and they're always at a different point in the life.
Yeah, man.
But this very much says it's not like you're at the end of the road. It's just that you're finally aware of the journey now.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that is true.
You know, you're not in anywhere Zen Buddha or whatever, but you're able to do. I'm going to recommend a book for you. You know Robert Greene?
I've heard of the name.
Power?
I've heard of that. But I
He's
haven't
got
read it,
another
though.
one called Mastery. You never read 48 Laws of Power?
No.
I got it in my office. I'm gonna let you hold it.
Gotcha.
Will you at least page through it?
Yeah.
You can't read it front to back. It's a fucking encyclopedia, bro.
Oh, it's like that.
48 Laws of Power. He goes through each of the. He gives a law of power, and then he goes through an example of that law, like how somebody in history followed it.
Mm.
Then he goes through the reversal, like how somebody reversed it.
Mm.
So like it's real cool. Like one of the laws of power is always appear dumber than your mark.
Mm.
So he tells a story about how these guys conned a bunch of rich people they literally just paid for raw gems and laid them in a mine. And they're like, oh, we don't know. We think we found something. You guys want to get some excavators? And they were like, yo, we're going to take advantage and we're going to sell it. He's like, I don't know. Name your price. Once they tricked the experts, once they had the experts, like, oh yeah, these guys don't know what they're sitting on.
Yeah. Then it was over. Yeah.
They made like ridiculous amounts. So then it'll also go and it'll tell you what is the reversal to always appear dumber than your mark. Like pickpockets will put up signs that say beware of pickpockets. And they'll watch people watch that sign and reach for where their wallet is. So it's like,
yeah, I got you.
I don't know, it's just all sorts of cool stuff like that, but it's made to be referenced. It's all sorts of different things you could learn from. But he's got another encyclopedia called Mastery. You'd be really into it. It's about how we learn things and how we think we know it all. And then as we get better, we start to realize the mistakes we're making. Then we get so good that we don't have to think, and our brain kind of automatically corrects those mistakes when we're sleeping. It goes through the whole thing and like ties it into the human existence, how we learn through our life. It's ridiculous.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, yeah, it's true. Like you're always uncovering new stuff about you. I had just I think I posted yesterday because I was talking to my boy at work, and he was telling me about his whole journey with like math and like random conversation, how like he had issues with math growing up. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what, I did too. I never really I stopped liking math. And then when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what, but I did pretty good in math up until 9th grade. My algebra 1. I did really good. And that's when I was still in Philly in 9th grade in Bartram. And I remember I had Mr. Richmond. He was super dude, like thicker, chubby black dude. He was hilarious. He was super smart dude and caring and charismatic. And I remember one day he had me cracking up after class. We were standing in the hallway. He had me rolling like I was crying. I was like, this dude is hilarious. And then I came in the next day and they said he died of a heart attack. And I was like, damn, yo. And like that, the whole school, like it just is like a dreary vibe. And then when I thought about it, I was like, yo, after that, I never did good in math again. For the rest of high school, even when I came to Allen, like I was only getting C's and D's until I graduated. So I did enough to graduate, you know what I mean? But I never did good. I never got another A in math after that. And when I was talking to my boy about that, I was like, yo, I really had trauma from that. And and that's something like my album's been recorded for a couple months now, but I'm still uncovering shit. You know what I mean? I was like, that's crazy. Like, so you're always going to be discovering new things about yourself. The point is to be aware of these things and to acknowledge them and to be like, okay, what can I do going forward? Now, because I'm not in school presently, I wouldn't be able to apply that. But for something else, when I go to learn something, if there's resistance in my body about it, maybe I should explore that more. Why do I have resistance about learning a certain subject? Is there anybody in my life where something might have happened when I was first introduced to this subject that would make me have resistance to it? So now
it blew my mind.
So that literally put
I'm asking some questions right now.
No, but that literally, this shit just happened yesterday, bro. Like I'm telling you, like this is mad exclusive. Like this shit just happened yesterday. So I was like, yo, so now just that lesson itself, like that could make that into a whole track if I wanted to. You know what I mean? And that's not even on the album. This is just like, this is the bonus track right here. You know?
I know. I was like, he's plugging the part 2, the EP that drops afterwards.
You know what I mean? Like this is crazy, but I mean, that's how it is, bro. Like every day, like I pick up things and I pray for the awareness to be able to capture those moments so that I can express them in the most precise way possible, because we can always express ourselves all we want. I know for years in my life, people would say communication is key. Communication is key. No, comprehension is, because you could talk to your blue in the face or somebody. You could try to communicate, but if y'all arguing the whole time, that was a wasted hour or
if
two
no
of your
one
time.
comprehends.
Yeah, so I always try to find understanding. Even if I don't agree with you, if I can understand at least where you're coming from, then at that point I can make an assessment. Are you the type of person that I should be around? That doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person. It just means that our energies aren't aligning, and I'd rather be around more people that align with my energy, just like you should want to be with people that align with your energy. And it's okay to respect those differences and walk away from people. People always think because you walk away from them that you have beef or you hate them. No, a lot of times it's just a difference of opinion. That's it. Because just the way I think and the way I govern my life and it's good for me might not be good for you based off of your upbringing, what type of food you eat, anything, your health situation. Like I could eat certain things right now that make my body feel great, but you might have an allergic reaction. So you eat that same thing that's making me healthy is making you sick. So how is that helping you? We have to be aware of all this shit. It gets deep. And just like I remember when, and this blew my mind personally, because I never thought about it until I got more into meditation and learning about the mind and how literally your mental health controls so much. You know, when people would be like, well, this person was healthy all their life and their brother was drank and smoked and that person outlived the healthy person. So kind of do what you want and stuff like that, because you never know. There is some truth to that, but what people don't get down to the little detail sliding under that is that the person that was smoking and drinking had a healthy mindset. Yes, maybe they were putting physical stuff that wasn't always great in their body, but their mind every day was like, yo, I'm happy. And just that thought of euphoria in your brain, like raises your body levels up so much. Then if you're putting stress in your body, you're getting healthy, but then you're in a state of depression. And the way you could prove that is you could go to work. You know, most people that go to work every day, they have a routine down, especially if you're at a job for a while.
Yeah.
Literally, you could go to work and have a day and just be thinking regular thoughts. Oh, this is a solid day, and go to work the next day and think about something that happened 10 years ago and do the exact same thing. But that day is horrible, and you can have knots in your stomach and it, which literally proves that the way you think changes the dynamic of the way your body feels.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
stress, everything.
Yeah. Like literally you could do the same exact thing, but what happens up here changed the whole perspective of your day for you. So imagine if I go up and I just put pressure on your neck right now for like 30 seconds, you're gonna be like, yo, that feels uncomfortable. What the fuck? And then I let go and you're like, all right. Now, if I held that down for like a day, now you might have like, oh shit, I might need to get a massage. There's a knot in there. Now imagine I held that down for a year. 10 years. Now you might have health issues.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you go into depression. So literally you could be doing healthy shit, all this stuff, you know what I mean, to put in your body. But if you putting that constant stress on your body, it's going to kill you quicker than somebody that's happy, but maybe drinking every weekend. And that's the piece that they don't talk about. So they just be like, oh, so just eat whatever you want to and be unhealthy because people just die. No, because this person had a happy mindset and this person didn't. That's the thing we're not talking about, that's how crazy. Powerful mental health is. Now, if you imagine a person that eats healthy, does everything well, and has a happy mindset.
Yeah, right.
That's a monk somewhere in the mountains at like one living to 150. You know, that's that dude. And then that's where I'm trying to be. You know what I mean?
Well, I've experienced both sides of it. I'm not like 30, 40 pounds down now, but that's my second time losing 40 to 60 pounds. I did that in my 20s as well, too. Gained it back. So I know what your body feels like when it's craving the grease and that stuff like that. But I mean, it's crazy. And I can say that since I stopped drinking, my mental health it just ties hand in hand. So like drinking's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Some people could drink every weekend and be fine. My mom drinks like, she'll drink Blue Moons. She'll drink like 2 or 3 a couple nights a week. She's not an alcoholic. She's fine. That's not my story. I can't do that.
Neither can I. I stopped drinking since December. So in a couple months it'd be a year for me. I just woke up and was like, I'm done.
Nah, definitely. But I just thought of something. Did you see that link that I sent you where it was like XXS Tentacion versus Big E and Pac?
Oh, I didn't see it. I don't think I've seen that.
Where's my phone? You got your phone on you?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
We'll find it. I'm not going to be able to throw it up in post because we'll get a copyright issue. But you probably can't even play it on your phone. But I just wanted to talk about it if you saw it.
Did you send it on Facebook?
Probably would have sent it on Facebook.
Oh yeah, because I don't see nothing. Like I'm already at September 11
Oh,
for
this
you.
was a minute ago.
Oh, so it was a while.
This was
ago.
like before. Yeah. I'll look it up. I mean, you could look it up. Probably rap battle Pac versus Tentacion, but they animated it like Dragon Ball Z style. So it was like it started with the beat going, and it was like I forget if it was the beginning of the West Side. What's that track with Pac, wherever where he's like, "Look at him over there." Or something, I forget, but he's talking shit on every track that opens. But they made it, and it was like they were walking in heaven, and they looked at each other. They had the whole Dragon Ball Z mountain area cleared out with the thunder.
Oh shit!
And when Pac starts rapping, he's like powering up.
Oh shit! No, I didn't see that. That's crazy.
I'm gonna show it to you, man. It's something.
They were battling.
They were battling.
Oh,
they
shit.
did a verse from Pac, then they did, I think, a verse from Juice WRLD or XXX Tentacion.
Oh shit!
And there were people watching the battle. They were like, "Oh man, Pac's getting smoked." But then, like as the dust settled, Pac was still standing there, and then he drops the
Wait,
hit 'em
matter
up
of fact,
verse.
was it damn, was it like South Park graphics?
Similar, yeah, like
I
South
think I
Park,
know.
Dragon Ball Z.
I do remember that now, but I watched it in the morning, so that's why I'm thinking of. I was like, yo, I think it was like a South Park part type graphic. I think I do know what you're talking about. See,
that's where either somebody my age did it, but I don't got the time to do something like that.
Yeah,
that
was detailed as hell.
Yeah, like that's crazy. If somebody wants to sponsor me and bankroll me, I'd love to do something for hip hop like that. But back when we were in the day, we had a little Blink 182, and they played it over top of Dragon Ball Z clips. It was like super blurry, GIF pixelated, but it was just Adam's song by Blink 182 to like Vegeta falling. Somebody just put those two things together and made like media. Yeah. I think that.
Yeah, that's dope. And I think now that you're saying that, I do remember, because I think I remember, because I know like the Hit 'Em Up song, they took the pieces out of it that could be applied to everyone.
Yeah.
Instead of like, because he had a lot of Biggie stuff he was saying there, so he took out the parts that could be generalized. And I remembered, I was like, yo, that's dope. The way it's like he's really talking to him. I was like, that was it. So I do remember that. Yeah, that was a minute ago. You sent that to me.
Yeah.
I do remember watching that though. Yeah, that was fire though. And it shows you like, and I think the beat they had was a more like more recent beat. It showed you how timeless Pac's flow is. I was like, that shit sound fire on that beat.
But that opened up a whole, that had me. I went back to the Resurrection album with the soundtrack that Eminem produced.
Oh,
with,
wow.
Running.
Yeah.
Why am I dying to live if I'm just living to die?
Wow, yeah, I remember that shit. That was crazy.
Yeah, man. It's so much. I'm excited about this content coming out. I like JID or JID.
Oh yeah, his album, what's it? The Forever Story? That new one that dropped. That's a dope album.
The Forever Story. What? He started with the Never Story, right?
Yeah, then there's this new one's called The Forever Story. It's actually his best album, in my opinion. It's very intricate. He's going in, mad different, very personal. A lot about his family, stories about his family years, his family singing on it with him. He got clips from stuff that they're doing. Like, it's very intricate. Like, he kind of handles it, and I don't want to compare it for people to be like going to it, but it's kind of like attention to detail the way Kendrick went into Good Kid, Mad City. Wow. Like that type of level of attention to detail where everything, he's even singing on the album and he sounds great to the point you don't think it's him at first. You be like, wait, but you hear this.
He sang on Working Out. He had a song called Working Out. He sang the hook.
But yo, I forgot the name of the song on the album, but just like halfway into it, he's singing. I was like, yo, he can like, and I'm not even bullshitting you. It's to the point where if Jill was like, yo, I want to make like a singing EP, I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, all right, it's probably gonna sound fire because he can legit sing. You know, that's I was crazy. Like, put it this way, he could get on the song with Anderson .Paak right now.
Yeah.
And they could go back and forth and you wouldn't be able to tell me who had the better singing performance. Like, that's how good of a singer he is. And I didn't know Jid had that in him. I was like, yo, this is a nice new wrinkle to his whole, you know what I mean? His whole artistry. I was like, that's great. So yeah, he did a great job on this project. I definitely fuck with it. It's dope, especially like how we talk about like new and old generation. Like, that sounds completely new. Like, it's today's hip hop, but done very detailed and intricately while still having great songwriting, because he has turn up joints and all that, but he handles everything with a level of detail that us older generation appreciates. Do your fun shit, do this, do your life shit, but do it with a level of detail where we know you cared about it. And Jid's the perfect explanation for that. A young rapper that spits nowhere near the Griselda cadence that I personally love. But he does it with such detail that I'm like, I fuck with that just as much as Griselda shit.
Well, he also got that. He got that accent. He got like a different accent.
Yeah.
So one thing I always try to remember, like coming from the East Coast and getting used to East Coast rap, we're used to hearing that East Coast accent or that Philly accent.
Yeah, he don't have that at all.
Yeah, and a lot of newer rap, it's just proper English.
Yeah.
They pronounce things the way they're meant to be pronounced.
Unless you're a mumble rapper, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, the mumble rap. But honestly, like you said, for understanding differences and being able to respect it, I can't get mumble rap. I can't do it. But I also can't do what Lil Jon the Yachty or Lil Jon does and all that. Like, I can't do the East Side Boys. I can't make music like that. I've tried to make a club banger. It's just not me.
That's because we're overthinkers and we're always thinking about the next bar. Them dudes is going off a feeling. Like I know this, shout out to LG Izzy, young boy, he be doing music, he doing a lot of stuff out here in the Lehigh Valley. I remember I had a conversation with him one time because Izzy would drop so much stuff in the studio. Like I remember he showed me before he dropped like a project years ago, he had like 40 songs in a clip, just chilling because he's always in there recording. I'm like, bro, like what? And he'd tell me he just goes off a feeling. Like I'll watch him sometimes. I'll go down there and he wouldn't write. He would go sing a couple lines and then he just pace around the room for like 5 minutes. And then he have a couple more lines in his head and keep recording. He would record himself sometimes. And that's how he does it, just off of his feeling. So it's not really intricate, but it's a real feeling. And he's a vibing type dude. He goes off of what he feels and the songs come out that way. And that it's a lot easier to be catchy that way too, because you're going off a feeling, you're in tune with the melody. Where me, I'm sitting here like, then putting peace and stuff. A lot of times I write it to a different beat. I write it to the Shook Ones beat. Yo, seriously, like when you write shit to that, there's no way you could go off, or you sitting there trying to piece stuff together all intricately and these dudes out there just vibing. So I think there's a beauty to both, you know what I mean? And the real special rappers are the ones that put both of them together. And that's when whoa, like they put melody and heavy bar structure together. That dude's different. Who's been probably, I guarantee Spotify's gonna say it's my most listened to this year. You fuck with St. JHN? I've heard of the name, but I haven't listened. I'm gonna put you on a couple of tracks. He got some with he got a track with Lil Baby that really put me onto it. I think it's called like 5,000 Singles. It's just like 5,000 Singles. Yeah, it's auto-tuned, it's like upbeat. And then when I started listening to his other stuff, he got like a melodic flow, but it's kind of like rap singing. Like I don't know. And it's kind of like remind me, you remember when like Tony Sunshine would have an R&B voice, like he could really sing, but he's rapping about killing people and loading up the clips and stuff like that. Well, look who he was with Pun and Fat Joe. They was in the streets doing crazy shit. Yeah. It's like, it kind of reminds me of that. He'd be like melodically talking about loading up a semi, but man, I'll put you onto some of his music. I don't think it's rap. I don't think it's like very melodic. He sings hooks, but it's not R&B. It's like some new stuff. He's wildly popular though. Wildly popular. Tons of streams. Yeah, there's so much stuff out there. That's the one thing I can say when people say stuff about hip hop. Hip hop is such in a good space if you're actually like a listener of it. I'm not like not a casual listener that listen to a little hip hop here and there, but if you're immersed in the culture, there's so many, like there's dudes with like 50,000 followers that live off hip hop. Like they literally make thousands of dollars, you know what I mean, and provide for their family. And they have fan bases and they have like 7-8 albums worth of material that sound official, sonically, artistic, and they live off of hip hop. And the average listener never hear of them. And because they don't, they'll think hip hop's in a bad place. But there's like literally thousands of artists like that. Yeah. Now there are the others that are struggling and never do anything. And then there's the next that are like a tier past that. A tier past the 50K would be like Griselda, because they're like known, but they're not known. And then after that would be like the J. Cole's. Griselda falls in a weird place. It does, because seem real popular for someone who's underground. They're real popular, but Griselda's kind of at the space that Talib Kweli was at when he did Get By. It's like he was popular, but he wasn't Jay-Z famous. Yeah. And that's how I look at like radio's playing it because everybody's playing it. Yeah. Not everybody's playing it because radio's playing it. Exactly. Like Griselda's at that Talib Kweli space, but where Jay-Z was at then, that's where like say Drake is now. Well, Drake's probably past that because Drake does like international music and stuff like that in terms of popularity. But like there's Drake, and then there's like I would say Kendrick and Cole right under that in terms of popularity, and then the Griselda and stuff like that in terms of popularity. But yeah, man, this hip hop's a crazy thing. I know you're talking about some of the like the mumble rappers. I remember one dude that I don't listen to him, but I got appreciation for what he does was like, I think it was, damn, who was it? Was it, who dropped the
Lil
album,
Baby.
Jeffrey? Was it Lil Baby?
Jeffrey.
He dropped the Barter 6 or something like that. That wasn't Lil Baby.
Nah, I can't
Was that
tell you.
Lil
I can't tell you none of Lil Baby's names.
Maybe it was
but I
Lil
fuck with him.
Yachty. Oh, whoever dropped the album called Jeffrey when he had the Japanese hat or whatever, the Asian like hat, whatever. I can't remember the name of that, whatever rapper that was. I think it was Lil Yachty. I don't know. But he had a couple songs where he wasn't saying anything, but the way he was rhyming his cadence to these melodies was so inventive. Like I never heard cadences like that before. I was like, what? I was like, and I'm thinking like the lyricist in me, if you put bars in that, you would be hitting like a Royce the 5'9" type flow.
Wow.
Like that's how intricate his melodic presence was. He kept switching up cadence. He wasn't saying anything.
Yeah, he wasn't saying anything.
But the way he was, I was like, this shit is crazy from an artistic expression. But we're so bar heavy. If it don't got bars, I'm not listening to it. Like we get in that zone. Yeah. But when I put away, you know what I mean, my judgmental view and I just went into it listening, like, and I learned to appreciate him. I think it's Lil Yachty. I don't know. Whoever dropped the Jeffrey album, because I remember
somebody's listening to this screaming at the
like,
TV
this
right
is
now.
who it
like,
is.
This is who it is. Yeah, put it up on the board.
Yeah, whoever dropped the album called Jeffrey, that's what I'm talking about. It was years ago,
it's
but
probably called like George or Jeff with a GEO.
Yeah, but it has like it looks like some type of, I'm not sure what culture, but it's like of the Asian. And he had like one of those like samurai hats on. He was like this.
I feel like I've seen it. You know, I could Google. I have Google right here.
But you gonna mess it up.
It's cool.
But I think it was around that time where I listened to him. I was like, yo, and that's why I started learning to appreciate these vibers more is because of him. Cause I was like, yo, some of them really have some brilliant cadences. I just personally need more substance in order to relate to it, so that I could connect with it. Cause I could. Other than that, like I'll listen to it and I'll appreciate it in the moment. I'll never listen again. If you got content that's relatable, even if I didn't experience your story personally, if you do it from the heart and it's detailed enough where it follows a story, beginning, a middle, and end, and it's told coherently with words and you're not mumbling through shit, I could vibe with you. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. I feel where you're coming from. Cause every movie we've seen that might have touched us hasn't been stories that we've been through. But because it was depicted the right way, when you think of putting that right actor in that role, he killed that role. I felt it. I never went through that. But the way he presented it was something so compelling and captivating that I was drawn into it. Same thing with music. I don't have to experience everything you go through. But if your performance and the way you convey it is so brilliant, then it's like it's undeniable. And that's all I'm saying is no matter what you talk about it, just make your performance undeniable so I can at least connect with you on some level. Say real words, say something that's real to you. You know what I mean? Because everybody has a different experience. I'm not going to be able to experience everything, but I could still respect your perspective.
This had me think of somebody recently, and it's going to mess with me. It's another white rapper I've been listening to. I think Prof, Prof. You ever heard of him? I don't know if he's popular or not.
I don't think
Something came up, and just the way that he was rapping on it was like goofy. It was like he wasn't taking it serious, but he actually had bars. And then I looked up the video, and it was like G-Eazy does this a lot, where he'd be like in like an old newscaster suit, and they'd be moving like it's in the 50s, like it's all production. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, hang on, give me 1 second.
Technical difficulty.
Nah, we should be good. Might have gotten quieter, but I turned you down a little bit. You were getting into it. I
was getting mad hype.
But it's all good. Just be more posts later. So I wanted to get back to your album for a little bit. I had some notes here. Give me 1 second. So you told us about the growth. I wanted to know, the one bar that stuck out to me was, and shameless plug, the album is called Writing to Heal. We had spoke about having like therapy through writing, your process. What does writing mean to you? You kind of lead it that you come into the conclusion that you change your goalposts. The goal is not to be the next Jay-Z with your music. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of I would say around 2007 when I dropped the album called The Classic. I had ambitions at that time to be the best rapper. It was still that. It was still like I want to be that. So when I went into every bar, every concept or whatever, that was always in the back of my mind, no matter what I was talking about. And then you realize once you really get into it that in order to take it as far as it needs to be, there needs to be a lot of crazy sacrifices. You have to have the right team around you. Like nobody could do it by themselves. And the first person that actually pointed that out to me, the first signs of that was when Jay-Z dropped the Black album. And I looked in the linear notes in the back of the book and he was saying, yo, I couldn't have got this far without my team. He said that.
Yeah.
Like you can go get the Black album and read that shit in the back in the notes. And he said, I couldn't got this far. I was like, wow, Jay-Z saying this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when he signed, and then again, I seen it again. And that same message was thrown at me when J. Cole dropped the Sideline Story. And that's Jay-Z's artist. He signed J. Cole to the Rock Nation joint. And in the back, the first thing J. Cole said was, yo, you cannot make it this far without a team. Yeah. He was like, because you can't do everything. And I always used to think that there was something I was lacking. Like, and I realized that I would have teams over the years, but everybody wanted to be a rapper. It wasn't like you're just doing the photos. You're just doing the promotion. I'm rapping. You're just doing that. Everybody's like, all right, so it's my turn. So they're helping you, but they're not really helping you because they're waiting for their turn. You know what I mean? And we are never on the same page. Like, let's all go on my album. Now let's all go on his album or let's go on her album, whatever. Everybody was always out for themselves. Not in a like selfish, like, fuck this dude way, because I'm still cool with everybody.
But there's some sort of altruistic motive. I get what you're saying.
And because of that, that's why like I could never get out there. And then once I got to the point where I started figuring out things, then like I got married and I had children. And then I don't care what nobody says. And this is actually a small pet peeve of mine. I say small because only time like I only talk about this once in a while, but it's when dudes be like, yo, I got children and I'm more successful. Well, first of all, bro, you was probably selling drugs. I don't sell drugs. I go to work every day. So I don't got 100 stacks just to put up on music. So that's how you got up on me, because you were doing something illegal while I wasn't. Two, you know what I mean? Outside of doing that, they'd be like, well, I have a wife and I have children too. Yeah, but your wife hates you. Your girl's always posting bullshit about you. My wife actually is happy. You know what that requires? That means that I have to spend time with her. You can't tell me you got a girl too, but you're not spending time with her. Once you invest time with somebody, that takes what? Time. You have to spend time. You have to build rapport. That takes away time from doing music and all the other shit. Kids that have an actual relationship with your children, you have to spend time with them. I'm going seeing my daughter do cross country, my son doing hip hop dance classes, spending time with him, telling them different things to be as a man, getting on them about their chores, making sure they're academically right. What do you need from me? That takes time. If you're not doing that and you're just a high and by and then taking pictures, yeah, you look really good. But no, your kids and your wife or your girl is suffering. So don't hit me with that bullshit. I got a wife and a girl and I could do this too. No, my dude, you're not really doing it. You're doing this shit for the gram, but you're not really putting in the hours. Because if you're putting the hours into your family, you wouldn't have time for music. You know what I mean? That makes me hot. You know what I mean? Because I hate when people try to put that image out there like, you can't. First of all, you need a team. And then first of all, at some point, you got to make a decision what you're going to sacrifice for your family. And since I came up in a single parent home with my mom, I understand what it's like to not have the other parent around. You know, now I've been over the years, like I went through a lot of anger towards my father, and we've had a conversation last year where we're at speaking terms now, you know what I mean? But I went through a lot of anger and stuff towards him. And we got to a point like we're talking now, like I sent him pictures, we cool. We're not perfect or nothing like that, but we got to the point where I could actually have a conversation without being angry. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where the combination of all those things, the only time you ever see a rapper have a healthy relationship with his kids is if he made it, then he started a family. That's why Jay-Z's able to have a great relationship. He ain't have children until after he was
when
already super
selling
rich.
crack. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like every other rapper that I seen, you go
That's
look up
true.
interviews about their kids. They're like, yo, I lost mad time with my kids, and it suffers from one of my favorite underground rappers, Joel Ortiz, and he was never even out there. He even says in songs that his kids suffered because of it. Now he's trying to play catch up. I don't ever want to play catch up with my daughter and son.
Yeah.
And when I looked at it from that, I was like, if I make it off of me being a husband and father and I'm still able to do it, all right, cool. If not, that's fine. I do music and hip hop because I like the feeling I got to bring it full circle when I was at the flagpole with John Well and I spit something, I got a reaction out of him.
Yep.
You know, and people hearing my bars or when I was going back and listening to Rakim and KRS-One and studying Chuck D and Ice Cube and Ice-T, you know, up to Nas and Jay and Wu-Tang and growing up on them and then going up to appreciating Scarface and T.I. and Redman and Method Man and all. You know, when I got into all that stuff, I was like, I want to listen to everybody. You know what I mean? And going through the G-Unit phase and, oh, wow, like, look at the songwriting, the way they're able to consistently make catchy stuff, but still hit hard. And DMX and Rough Riders, Jadakiss, The Lox, all of them. Like, you study all this and you take pieces and then you develop your own style. And that's such a passion of mine that even without money, I'm just a hip hop purist. I probably listen to like 50 hip hop albums a year. Most people don't do that. And that's like a bit obsessive, but that's how much
when you said I'm a casual listener. I'm gonna run the tape back. I'm pretty sure you said you were a casual listener.
Oh no, not me. I'm definitely not.
Oh, you're saying if you're a casual listener.
If I was, but
I would have cut you off. Not. I was like,
no,
you sent me the list.
You sent me the list.
No, I was waiting for JID to drop something. You just gave me a review on it.
Oh, facts. Y'all want in.
I didn't even hear that new one yet.
No, it's dope. It's dope. And it's very intricate. But no, that's what I mean. Like I listen to so much hip hop, you know, and I'm so into it that's who I would be without the money. And once I realize that, then I got to do music for me. And then I've been in situations where I know I have something to offer. Like I remember one time when I went to church years ago, and the pastor said that I could share something that was on my heart. And I went up there and I spit a cappella. It was like 40 bars or something. And it was just about what I was going through. I kept it clean because I was in a church, obviously, but I spit something from the heart and where I was at in my life. And bro, when I was done, a 60-year-old white woman and then like a 28-year-old thug dude or whatever, both came to me separately in tears. Yo, what you said touched me. Both of them, two different types of people, went through different things in their life, had different opportunities, and they both were crying because what I said on the microphone, a cappella with no beat. I was like, yeah, I got some shit to say. Yeah, nobody can take that away from me. And I've done that plenty of times. I've spit stories, told stories on the mic, and people came, yo, bro, what you said touched me. And I've had that. I went to Brooklyn and I was spitting and then this thing and people was talking, they stopped and it was like, and walked up and was posted up like, yo, like listening to me. I was like, oh, I know I got some shit with me. Nobody can take that from me. I could go in front of anybody and like, you know, when I'm, you know what I mean, start spitting stuff or a song or perform, you know what I mean, get myself prepared and they're going to feel it on some level if you like hip hop. If you don't like my vibe, the only way you wouldn't like me is just two things. Either you don't like my style of beats that I pick, they're not for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Or you don't like the texture of my voice. That's what I
was going to say.
You know what I mean? If you're not into like my style or the texture of my voice, that's it. But the skill level is unquestioned.
Dude, in Bevel Boy, let me stop you. I'm gonna take over for a second. In Bevel Boy, I think it was verse 2.
On the beat switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the crazy, out of all your albums I've heard, that was the craziest. And correct me if I'm wrong, there could be something else, but that was the longest. You had the same pentameter going, and then the sentence switched up. I think you were going, and then the beat switched, and then you started switching. You went like half measures. You were rapping faster. I was literally listening to it. I was like, that was one of my notes that I put in. I was like, that was really something. And normally I don't hear like the stuff I hear on your albums is different than stuff that you're like featured with Gallo. You know what I mean? There's still that competitive and stuff. And that was kind of where I struggled with making music, was pulling it all together because I just love that hype. Just I want to rap, go
Yeah.
in that battle cry, Joel Ortiz. Just want
Wow,
to spit,
battle
no
cry is
chorus.
crazy. That's
Battle
great.
cry is
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. I'm
Fully
gonna listen
naked
to
with
that
my
when I
balls
leave,
wet.
yo. That's crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, no. Yeah, I get into a zone. I still look for newer hip hop and as weird as it sounds, I'm getting a lot of it from the apathy. Chris Webby hasn't for a little bit, but I would really like Chris Webby's stuff. It was just like it's weird. It was fun. It was like
Yeah.
talks about ADD and shit like that.
Mm,
Just I mean, it's weird to hear to take like one of my biggest things with mental health was for me to go and identify as my condition and not just have it be like something separate or something I wasn't afraid of. So the fact that Chris Webby could poke fun at himself for having ADD,
mm,
I think that's kind of a mentality that we should have
yeah.
because people don't even, people talk about mental health, but they don't consider ADD a part of that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just your kids being bad. It's just a
Yeah.
boy thing. Like
Mm,
they don't realize that, and like to treat it with meth,
yeah, that's crazy.
it's insane. But it's gonna affect somebody with ADD's brain different than if I go and sniff an Adderall or something. You know,
Mm.
it's just different. But um, I don't know. Let me see what else we got going on here. We're at an hour and 15 minutes, bro.
Oh, that's what you're asking me about. If you said if I did something to the level of Bevel Boy or something like that.
Oh yeah, do you have anything else like that?
Uh, I've wrote so many things. It's kind of hard. And you're talking about just going in like that. Of what the style? I'm trying to think. I know I have a song called High Note that was on the Now I Know album. That second verse, I kind of did a whole bunch of rhyme schemes on that. Think like the third verse on Going All Out.
Do you know your verse for Bebel Boy, the second one? You know, with me, if I don't know the first couple lines, I can't remember the verse.
Oh my God. It's hard because a lot of times after I write an album, then I forget. I gotta practice.
It's all good. Is there any song other than Bevel Boy that you would want if we were to leak a track? What would you want me to play?
I'll probably I Climb Out. That's a good one.
I climb out.
Yeah, with featuring Bree. Yeah, that's probably a great one because that's kind of like, you know what I mean, coming out of the first half of the album that I was so angry, a lot of the anger
Yeah.
after being accountable for stuff. And it's like a good way to really tell people. And not only that, but it's a banger too. Like the drums is heavy and it goes hard. So always like harder hitting shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So like,
That snap.
yeah, it has that snap to it. And a good chorus on it.
Well,
Like,
for people just listening, so you know, if you've been following Gil's career, this is one of the first ones that you had the parental advisory sticker on it, right?
yeah, in a minute, it's been a while. And it was just more of a because a while ago I made a conscious decision to stop cursing in my raps for a while, even though I still kept my content adult. It was always adult content, and I'm not even gonna lie, it came because a lot of times early on I would have my daughter with me a lot when I had the opportunity to write, and you know you recite your stuff. So I was like, damn, I don't want to be saying this crazy. I don't want to say this crazy shit while she's sitting right next to me. So let me figure out a different way to still say this, but word it differently. So the challenge came because she was right next to me. And she was a pretty content child once I got her or something, but she had to sit next to me. So I couldn't go too far.
Go too crazy.
So I
No,
was
that
like,
makes
all right.
sense.
So I was like, all right, let me put my earpiece in to hear the beat. She's sitting next to me watching the show. But all right, so let me start writing. And I would and I'd be mouthing it or whatever. And I didn't want her to hear me saying nothing crazy. So at least if I made it a little bit more intellectual, that she couldn't process it yet, you know what I mean? And I could still get my point across exactly the way. So that's how it started, trying to like write around her.
That's crazy.
And then I kind of just stayed in there. I was like, oh, I don't got to worry about making clean versions.
Personally, I feel like
Mhm.
it's a lack of vocabulary if you can't replace fuck.
Yeah. So
if you have to say fuck to show power,
yeah,
to show that presence, then you're just not as good of a lyricist. So for me, it was a challenge of finding ways to say around it. I don't think I ever recorded the N word. I definitely didn't record F word or anything like that. I never put anything on my albums with parental advisory.
Mm. Yeah, I
But
think with this album, since I went through so much of it, like a devastating depressive, I think I needed to allow my and with my kids being a little bit older and understanding and not like knowing that like they know they've heard adults curse and they know they're not going to walk in a room disrespectful and curse and they know that now. Whereas if, when they were more impressionable for that to take place, that's why I was being careful about how I wrote when I had the opportunity to write around them. Now, like my son and my daughter ain't gonna go nowhere cursing, even if they heard me curse. You know what I mean? They're like, that's something adults do. You know what I mean? They know not to be going around
not me.
being disrespectful. You know what I mean?
I'm bad in front of my kids.
You know what I
I'll be
mean?
the first
But
to admit it.
I mean, I still do have slip ups in front of them, but I control it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm not just flying off the handle or whatever. Because I don't like to raise them in that type of space. I want to be realistic. Like this is how I feel, and he'll you know I'll curse here and there, but I try not to be excessive with it because
Yeah.
I don't want them to be in that type of space. I just want their energy to be good. You know what I mean? So I want to push. I want their space to be way more peaceful than mine was growing up, and that's what you really want. My mom. I remember when I first became a homeowner at 30, she was like, baby, when she was still here, she's like, baby, I'm so proud of you because I didn't become a homeowner until I was like 45. You did it 15 years before me. That's success. And when I looked at it from that perspective, I was like, you know what? She's right. She looks at me like, yo, you're married and you're a homeowner by 30. I had none of that stuff at 30. And she set me up so I was able to accomplish that. You know, so I was like, word. So I got to set my kids up even better.
Yeah. I feel a battle coming on. The battle of the dads.
Yo, bro.
Yo, I'm here with my kids.
Yo,
I still have, but I had a house by 30.
Yo, by 30, holla at your boy.
Instead of dad jokes, have like now that was that concept I was telling you about. Maybe I'll have you eventually write it for me, but we all end up at the same red light. You know, I had people growing up with me that it was like, oh, you're not going to this college, or you're not doing that. You're going off with the art. You're gonna do the art thing, and it was a lot of people who went. I've realized that when you compare yourself to other people, like humble people are not they're in the battle trying to figure out how to perfect themselves. They're not sitting here trying to compare themselves to whatever. Like, yeah, I'm still gonna take some things. Like people, oh, what is he gonna be, the next Joe Rogan? No, that's cool. We'll figure it out. What is he gonna? Yeah, there's influences from podcasts I listen to, but shout out to your brother, Naughty Nuisance. We'll throw his tag up there.
Yeah.
I love the track that you have with Nigel, or to Nigel. What's the name of that track?
You Came a Long Way.
You Came a Long Way. That was a really good one, and that one is literally just bar for bar talking at Nigel.
Yeah.
Just telling him, like, from like big broing him pretty much.
Yeah,
big
just
broing him.
From a kid to him now being a father of four, and just everything I've seen him, how his whole mentality changed. Because, you know, as a big brother, you kind of look at your little brother the way you go through a situation. You're like, man, I don't want to be around him. He's annoying. And I got to take him everywhere. And going through that to the point where he became his own man, and then we got respect and love for each other. And then I seen him going through his stuff with mommy, and I had to be the mediator for a lot of the stuff they went through, and then how he started making her proud. And before she passed, she felt he was in a great place. And when I looked at all that stuff and I wrote it down, I was just like, yo, you came a long way, bro. I'm proud of you and I love you. And I felt like, you know what? I never made a song about my brother. I was like, you know what? This is the time. Because then right after that is a song about my mom. So I was like, yo, this is a perfect way to go from him to her. You know what I mean? Two of the most important people in my life ever, you know what I mean? So that's how I felt. It was the perfect time for that.
Madness. Dude, it is really masterfully crafted. Listen to the album a couple of times. There's no problem listening to it front to back. That's some of the problems I've had with albums sometimes, where it's like you got to listen to it in pieces. You know, people throw 7 deep tracks that all require you to break them down and stuff. And it's like, I was still trying to figure out what was going on the last one. Now we're over here. Now this is real even. It starts with your personal journey. It starts with you coming to accountability, and then your kind of message from that new perspective to your family and to your loved ones. So, definitely check out the whole thing. We'll make sure, I'll time it so we can drop this so that the album is out now. I'll either drop this like the 25th, or if you drop it on the 24th, we'll have this part of your media run. So we'll drop it like...
And it's going to be on all like streaming websites. It's going to be everywhere. But at the same time, I will be selling it on GilThompson.com as well. So if you want to support it and get it directly, GilThompson.com, you know what I mean? Yeah, and when you see that big logo, this man right here designed it. He designed it. He designed all the album covers that you're going to see on that website.
Let's throw up all the album covers right now, right? Bloop, 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 bloop. Shameless plug.
You know, we call that catalog, baby.
Yeah, no, definitely have a catalog between singles and stuff. But look out for Writing to Heal, Gil Thompson, on all streaming platforms now. Go ahead and grab that. We're going to take a listen, wrap this up here. Unless you got anything crazy, I'm going to play Bevel Boy.
Oh, yeah, I did want to give a shout out to my man Angel, a.k.a. Mr. Soundproof, A Murder. He produced the first, I believe, 5 tracks on the album, and then Jacque, aka Triple Threes, produced the last 4. You know what I mean? So I had 2 producers for the whole album. You know what I mean? Both of them did their thing. Triple Threes and Mr. Soundproof. So if you like the beats, them 2 dudes put their foot in it.
You find them on Instagram or what? Yeah,
you find them, Mr. Soundproof and Triple Threes. And Mr. Soundproof, just spelled out, is for Triple Threes, he puts TR3, the number 3, then PLE 3Z. Like, so he spells it uniquely.
We're gonna throw it up there. There's no way anyone listening on audio.
They were like, man, I'm not doing that. It's like
yeah. Now that works. Cool. So this is Bevel Boy off of the new album Writing to Heal by Gil Thompson.
Yeah. Click. Oh, man.
I step into a cipher with a purpose. Every bar sharp, perfectly aligned to shape you guys up. A Bevel Boy. I'm a Bevel Boy spittin', top notch, rum McCoy written. Genghis Khan warlord diction, a Bevel Boy hitting. Ernie Shade bare knucks whipping, collapsed lung, major limbs missing. The time approaches to evaporate you roaches, cause I'm driven with the focus, armed and deadly with explosive verbal stanzas. Killer grammar, a sophisticated mantra that I use to go to war with all opposing propaganda. So check your arsenal, all of your verbal weaponry. Make sure it's all collectively correct before you step to me. If you start dissecting me with holes in that directory, I'll take the life from every shot you send, more than vasectomies. Toss into your faith the great holocaust of a lost debate. I floss my hater boss whose entire jaws up in caution tape. Too ferocious, leave victims inside coaches. Stands approaches with the facial expression. I smell atrocious, I killed it. Yeah, let that breathe a little bit, so your mind doesn't weave and the riddle hits. My brainstorm seeks seized and the drizzle fits. Growing mental feast, all feed and can nibble bits. I bear my soul when my people in a tighter spot. Like instrumentals hit me with my guard down the writer's block. Go to war with him, every ball got a fighter's plot. To lead the unethical deceased where the biters rock.
Wait, you said you wanted to play I Climb Out, right?
Yeah.
Alright, introduce the track.
Oh, it's still playing? Still on? Oh, shit. Yo, this is Gil Thompson. Got a single called I Climb Out featuring Bree Angeli off the latest album, Writing to Heal, dropping October 24th, baby. Let's go.
Beneath the rubble, in the darkest pits of my consciousness, is where the greatest version of me was buried. But I had to crack the foundation of who I was to build who I will be. With every trauma and tragedy, I clawed at the darkness until light shined in. And once I got a taste of that light, I stood up and ran through. Won't fall too strong. Look at my eyes and you'll see that I'm ready to rule all reign long. Over my doubts and my weak insecurities. Once I came hard, striking, attacking the evil that lives in me. Killing the source, hitting the cord, lighting the match, burning the corpse. Still here, chin high, knowing the route that I took was a recipe made my soul strive. Giving me clout and what strength in my legacy, making me king. Over my mind, focus the truth, spirit combined. Now that I bring everything I'm meant to be through, lyrics I'm fine. Before the record, there's many things that I have rejected and disrespected. My mental health when I don't correct it. My mother died from a cancer, I feel my soul's infected. I know she's smiling on me, the heavenly angel is free. It's hard to pray, I'm resenting God and I'm trying to shake it. To honor what she believed and valued is very sacred. Even if I disagree, my kids are believing in me. To guide and show that to quit is never the key.
In dark spaces seems to find out I have the strength in me to climb out. I grip's on the edge, I keep pulling. My grip's on the edge, I keep pulling. In dark spaces seems I find out I have the strength in me to climb out. I climb out, I climb out. My grip's on the edge, I keep pulling.
My every finger was sliding because my spirit was hiding. Too many thoughts are colliding, bashing my soul. I'm like a zombie that's hanging, rapid deterioration. I need my soul to awaken, tighten my hold, locked in. Building muscle through my struggle, drop them adversaries, mental pictures I will always crop in. When I'm dealing with pain, feeling insane, running from goals, filling my veins. Servants of hate, blocking the truth that I could use, healing my stains. It's really getting wicked, my heart is too inflicted and heavily addicted to vices I submitted. I really tried to quit it, I'm trapped and deeply knitted, twisted in a pit of existence I know my mind invented. Tired of being careless, no longer will I wear stress. Daily in my life, enhancing all of my awareness. I'm still learning, but I found my direction. Resiliency is what I'm reflecting.
In dark spaces seems to find out I have the strength in me to climb out. My grip's on the edge, I keep pulling. My grip's on the edge, I keep pulling. In dark spaces seems I find out I have the strength in me to climb out. I climb out, I climb out. My grip's on the edge, I keep pulling.